Hey, what's going on, Hero Peakers? It is I, yours truly, James, the Master of Ceremonies, doing an inaugural quick peek for NBA and NBA content only. No nerd talk unless it has a direct correlation with an NBA. And I like to first start by introducing a longtime co-founder of Heroes Peak we haven't seen in years, Keith. Free Keith. How are you, Keith?
I'm well. All is well. Excited to be back. It's been a long hiatus.
We miss you indeed, and I like your para here for your Knicks fandom. I
It's
love
that
that.
time of year.
I'll let that slide. But also tonight we have a special guest, first longtime listener, first time participant, Mike. Mike, what's going on, Mike?
Hey James, honor and a pleasure to be here on the Heroes Peak podcast. And like all of the privileges I've been awarded in life, I cannot wait to see how I mess this up.
Ah, fuck. There we go. Nice. All right. So tonight we're gonna talk briefly, real brief. Just since this is our inaugural podcast, we're gonna cover the NBA, the current NBA season. We're gonna talk about the drunken hangovers from the previous season and how it impacts to this season, the road thus far, where we at with the current season, and then we're gonna talk about quickly some highlights, some lowlights, and then some wild card discussion, and then we'll say our goodbyes. So, without any further ado, let's get into last season's summary. Quick summary. OKC actually went in and did what they were projected to do at the beginning of last season, as they won the title. Not only did they win the title, but SGA stamped his legacy into the NBA by becoming the MVP over Jokic, which I know Mike and I argued over this so many times, but let that be. The Boston Celtics, who were at the time scheduled to also be a title contender, sadly were ran into the buzzsaw that was the New York Knicks and ran into the buzzsaw that was ACL injuries. So that being said, Jets, real quick around the horn. Anything that you were expecting to happen from the end of last season going into this season that gave you some concern and pause? Let me start with Mike, because you had the biggest hiccup at the playoffs last season. I'll let you start first.
Yes, and I would say that we ran into the buzzsaw that is the Madison Square Garden parquet, because that series was still in the balance when Tatum went down in a very big way. But I was really concerned. And just for context, everybody, I grew up in Rhode Island. I'm a Boston sports fan. You hate me because you can't beat me. And the reality of the situation was I was really worried that my Celtics were going to be middling. Not bad. Bad would be good because then we'd be set up for draft position, so forth and so on. I was worried we were going to end up like in that playing game area, no man's land, unable to move the contracts that we had moved, stuck in luxury tax, salary cap, second apron hell, whatever you want to call it. And then, Jalen Brown turned into the Mandalorian and all is okay.
That is the way indeed. That is the way indeed. All right, perfect segue. Talked about the Celtics and how they had the obstacle of the Knicks. Keith, what were you expecting? Um, your Knicks sadly did not make the NBA Finals. Lost Indiana Pacers in the conference finals. What were you thinking was going to be a hangover from last season going into this season that you were concerned about? And you might be muted. Yeah, you are muted.
We had when they let Tibbs go.
Mm.
When they let Tibbs go, and honestly, even to this point, I'm a little bit cooler now. But like, I didn't think that Mike Brown. I didn't think that Mike Brown would be a suitable replacement,
That is true. You did
and I
voice that
kind
to
of
me.
and I kind of still don't. But yeah. But they I don't know about like in terms of hangover from last season though. You know me, like I think like I never really liked that cat pickup. I didn't like that cat trade. I didn't like the trade. I didn't like the trade for Towns. I felt like he, I think that he He's actually this season after the All Star break. I don't know where this defense has come from him or whatever, but like I'll take it. But like he just came up very soft to me. I never liked Cat, even when he was on the Timberwolves.
You did voice that to me several times
Yeah,
offline.
I never. I was very disappointed when I woke up and heard that trade. That trade happened. Like, ah, you just they just changed the whole complexion of the team. Now we a soft finesse team. Like, and I was dead set on us having a build. Up until that point, we were having a build up until like similar to the my favorite build of the 2000, which is the 2004 Pistons. Like we were having a build like that. You know, the people that we were getting weren't stars for real until they came to our team, until like they got in our system, and yeah, like they were picking the right people, and we were gelling in a way that like, oh, it's not just about star chasing. Like it lit. I really felt like they were putting together a team that was working well with each other. Like they were very good complementary parts. Cat was the first star chase move that Leon has did in his tenure, and I just didn't think that it was the I didn't like it at all. So that's my only hangover. I think coming into this season, I once you had the injuries, Tatum, Halliburton, I came into the season like, okay, there's only a couple teams we really got to worry about. Of course, it's an 82 game season. Things happen. Uh, Tatum apparently has Wolverine X Factor. And yo, I really hope he didn't come back too early. I really hope he didn't come back too early.
You thinking of KD?
Yeah, and Clay. Clay came back too early. KD came back too
Yeah,
early. They
early.
looked all right in the beginning of the time when they came back, and it just and then KD and then Clay ended up being out for a whole nother year. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah.
you come back
You
a
know what?
little bit of time before your
Yeah.
injury, before your predicted time, cool. But like he's literally back like 2 months before the expected time that he be back. And hey, I hope I hope he got that X factor. But look out for your boy. Look out for your boy. Everybody
This is
should be everybody on the Celtics should probably be very aware of what could possibly be his limitation because that was a fairly serious injury. Back in the day, Cats wasn't even coming back from that kind of injury. Yeah,
career ending. That's a career ending, and
career
but we
ending.
got science and technology and God knows what stem cell
Definitely,
research.
and he's obviously benefiting from that because
He's benefiting from that.
I don't know what
Take
kind of
note.
magic they did to make him come back early, but
Take note,
God bless
RFK
him.
Jr. Duly noted. But this perfect setup and segue into the road thus far. This current season. Now that we're about 5, 6 into the season, a couple more games left before the playoffs, the play-in and playoffs. The Knicks. You started to talk about that before we pivoted to the Celtics and the Celtics injury and comeback. The Knicks are definitely an interesting team. I know a lot of people. There's 2 or 3 teams that always get conversations on the traditional ESPN, all the talking heads. It's the Lakers, it's the Knicks, and some variation of other teams in the league. But let's start with the Knicks. I think you started to talk about the fact that the changing of the coaching staff and the the draft from I'm sorry, the trade from the year before and that spilling into now a second complete season with Cat. Where do you, as a resident Nick guru fan supreme, think that this season has fared so far, um, from your perspective, Keith, with the Knicks?
To Just to give you background though, before I explain, the
Hmm.
way I look at the teams, any team, this is not just the Knicks. Any team, to me, I look at them as where they are in their life cycle of team building. You have your rebuilding teams, You have your, like they've got their core. You got your building team, and then you move over into being a contending team. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my expectations change at each one, at where I feel like we're at each one of those points.
Stages. Yeah, gotcha.
Now, coming into this season, I firmly believe that we were a contending team, a championship contending team.
I think
So
it's not
now
far
my
fetched. Yeah.
usual, my usual just Knicks hopeful optimism is way more laser focused now. Like it's not like, oh, like that was a good loss and we could learn from it. Nah, fuck that. I am very critical of the team this year, especially being that, like, yo, and I love Tibbs. If you're telling me that this coach got us to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, and you fired him because you feel like for his decision making or for his influence, he is what kept us from going further. Right.
Mm,
That was the prevailing thought. So now this season, I'm like, okay, you kept your core. We didn't trade any of the core players. We extended the bench. So now this current coach got more to work with than Tibbs had to work with. We've got phenomenal talent on the team, in my opinion. I am very critical of them now because now what you've told me is that we just needed to change the coach and we're going to the finals. So to me, this is a finals or bust year. No excuses. You changed the thing that you thought was wrong, that you said was wrong, that you promoted was wrong. Cool. Got rid of Tibbs. I fully expect I fully
title of
expect us to be in
bus.
the finals this year.
Title of
Fully.
bus. Well, let's get Mike's take on that because as you were mentioning title of bus, and I said that's not far fetched. I noted that Mike's eyebrows raised with some shock and awe. Mike, what was what's your take on this with the Knicks in
So,
particular?
yeah, so I'll start at the top with Keith's comment about Tibbs. I'll say outright, Tibbs is a better basketball coach than Mike Brown.
Hmm.
He just is. You can basketball reference will tell you, your eyes will tell you. I think most players and executives in the league will tell you. It's just a fact. What I don't understand, and I understand why they fired him. He was running the guys into the ground. That's why you guys fell apart in the playoffs. I mean, I think the first two games against the Celtics, Jalen Brunson played like 40 something minutes. Towns and Bridges also had 40 something minutes on him. Like, that's inevitable. But what I don't get is, and I'm really confused by this. If this was the old Knicks, I wouldn't be confused. But you have Leon Rose now. You have adults in the room, as I like to say, which is why you're enjoying the success you're having. How did you go straight to firing that man and not have like a meeting? Like, hey, maybe 36 minutes, 38 minutes a game until you really need it. Like, do you need to be playing these guys 40 minutes a game against Portland in February, right?
Mm.
Maybe a conversation could have taken place as opposed to firing a guy. And the other thing about firing the guy, they clearly didn't have anybody in mind. They didn't have the girl waiting in the wing when they dumped their girlfriend. You know
Oh,
what I mean? They dumped that girl and they were just like, wait, I forgot. I got nothing now. And they ended up with Mike Brown at the bar. So that's that, right? Um,
hold on. I want Mike to insert my typical emoji with the oof when you said that. Dump the girl waiting with no girl in the wing. But go ahead,
Yo,
Mike.
so,
he's preaching right now.
so that's that on the coach, right? I think this next season is playing out exactly as I would think it is. I don't think they're underachieving. I don't think they're overachieving. I actually do think the Towns move, while not earth shattering, not the type of move that was going to take them to the next level, it is good for Jalen Brunson. The spacing is much better. I don't think Julius Randle has ever shot over 34% from three in his career. So
Oh, he's
that wasn't
struggling right now. Oh my
he's
God, he's
struggling
struggling.
right now. That was never going to work there, right? So it does help the spacing, and then they bring in Bridges, and it all kind of fits. The problem is, and I'm not, this is not a dig at Jalen Brunson, but it's more of a dig at the team. The problem is Jalen Brunson is your best player. And in the history of the league, only 2 teams have won the chip with a small guard as their best player: Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry. So if you're saying he's on that level, I can't wait for him to see it. I can't wait for him to prove it. But I think that's the fundamental flaw with this Knicks team is you look around the league, all the best teams, the real contenders, the best players are wings or bigs.
I don't disagree. Let's pivot real. Wait, Keith, did you have something to add on to what Mike just
No,
said before
yeah, I
we?
don't disagree. I don't. I agree with him in that percentage wise and like statistic wise. Yes, I 100% agree. But the sport, like the sportsman in me, says this, and this is why I love sport. Because regardless of what we think, things play out, and nothing happens first until it happens first. Yeah, until it's the first time that it's happened. You know what I'm saying? And this doesn't even have to be the first time that it happened. It happened before. It can happen again. So I don't. I would love for Jalen Brunson to be like 6'6". If he was 6'6", you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm in heaven. So
Yeah, people
where
said that
I
about
have,
Iverson too.
you know what I'm saying? Iverson was, oh man, beautiful. But anyway, if he was 6'6", I feel like, oh, people will be more comfortable calling him a number one and this, that, and the other. And yeah, it just
Oh,
disconnected me.
did we just
Um,
lose Keith?
Keith was explaining that everything's impossible until it happens, I think.
Oh my God! All right, technical difficulties here. Of course, we
this
have
is why I
that.
love sport.
When I'm the okay, Keith, we lost you for a second. Mike said Keith was basically saying how everything is impossible, and then the impossible happened. He dropped off. I I
Julius
speak.
Randle.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to be the MC
For
moderate a little bit here. I don't want us
who
to
can
lose
get you
track of
closer
time.
to their
Let's
actual
segue.
value?
I do want to ask Keith one question.
Shoot.
Who do you think is a more tradable
No,
player
I'm
right
well.
now, Karl Anthony
Okay,
Towns or Julius Randle?
I'm going to say Carl, but I don't
You
think
think
that you can
so?
get value for Carl Anthony Towns. Like a team would take him. A team, I think a team
No.
would
Who
take
who
him.
can you
A
market
team
to
would
another
a
team
team
in a
would take
trade
him or whatever,
right
this, that,
now?
and the other. But you're not getting an
Okay.
equivalent. You're not
Yeah.
getting an equivalent player of a $53 million per year
You
salary
will next
cap.
summer.
You're not getting a superstar for cap.
Like
So where
salary
he might
cap
be
and
more
draft picks.
desirable, I would trade Randall. I think Randall is
Yeah,
more
I think that's a
tradable,
salary
closer to
cap and
his
draft
value
picks type of.
than
Yeah,
Towns is.
yeah. I agree. I'd have to agree on that one.
Interesting.
Roger that. Let's segue real quick into the emergence of certain teams now that are considered title contenders. I'm gonna leave the Knicks, with all due respect to Keith, out of that conversation. But with respect to Mike, I'm gonna reintroduce the Celtics. So in my mind, I'm looking at Houston Rockets, Detroit up until Cade's injury, obviously Denver and OKC, but Boston. Let's loop in Boston. You got 5 teams, and this is a free form. Pick any of these teams to discuss whether you think this is an overrated title contender or dark horse title contender. Let me start first just to set up the cadence here. Up until Detroit was hurt, I was really shocked at how they were beating and winning games. You know, some games were grueling games that I didn't think that they had the capability, skill, coaching, and the innate desire to be able to beat some of these better ranked teams. And I was mistaken. I started paying attention, started watching Detroit Piston games. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So to me, I think that's a team that up until this recent Cade injury, I'm not sure how devastating it is or not. To me, that was a dark horse team that I think could win the game. So Keith, what's your thoughts on either overrated, properly rated, or underrated dark horse or title contender that you see?
Yo, I honestly think that the Celtics were slept on coming into this season.
Mm,
We've had discussion before. I think before Tatum's injury, like while they were playing phenomenally last season and their chip season. I always looked at Jalen as the more serious basketball player than Tatum. Like to me, and I said this before, I feel like all things considered, when the smoke clears, Jalen's gonna have a better career than Tatum.
And this is perfect because Mike and I have gone head to head, toe to toe via text messages on Jalen Brown versus Jason Tatum ever since the first NBA Finals loss to Golden State Warriors, then the championship year, then the Olympics. So Mike, thank you, Keith.
But I'm not
What's
finished.
your
I'm saying I was
oh, okay,
saying
my
that to
bad.
lead into my next point.
Go ahead.
I think that they were very much slept on for that very reason. I don't think like people always kind of looked at Tatum because like, oh, like he's he's scoring, oh, he'll score 40 points, this, that, and the other. But like Jalen to me was the smarter player. And he was very much overshadowed by Tatum. And I think this season with Tatum out, it
Mm.
paints a whole new picture of that Celtics squad. Like
Robin becomes Batman.
Robin,
Or
yeah,
Nightwing becomes
Robin
Batman. Yep.
becomes Batman Prime. Like it's Batman and Batman Prime. It's not even a Batman Robin situation.
I like that. Mike, please let's circle that conversation and then afterwards you can say what teams that you're thinking other than Boston are over
Yeah,
or underrated. Go
because
ahead.
I do want to address the Pistons too. So when both are healthy, like I'll say this: May of 2025, before Tatum blows his Achilles, Tatum's just outright the better player. He can just do more. It's not that he's a better necessarily that much better of a scorer than Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown doesn't have the handles that Tatum has. When he goes
No.
into traffic and goes to kick out, it's not the same. He's not a point forward. You can actually have Jason Tatum run your offense as a point guard. He has that in his bag. Now, that said, here's my hot take of the night. The Jason Tatum Achilles rupture is the best thing that could have possibly happened to the Boston Celtics.
Totally understand.
Because Jalen Brown came in this October and he had clearly, with intention, knowing what the situation was going to be, worked on his handle. He's got this little in the lane crossover that he does now before he pulls up,
Yeah.
takes that 12-foot jumper, which he also never had in his bag. And I will agree with Keith. He's the more serious basketball player. He takes it more seriously. Like he just wants to cut everybody that's out there every single night, no matter who's in front of him. And Tatum doesn't have that in him. He's not that kind of guy, right?
As much as he
Uh,
looks up to Kobe, he's not that.
right. So that's point A as to why it's the best thing that ever happened. It allowed Jalen to develop into the player he is now. Right now, March 19th, like Jalen Brown's the better player. Jason Tatum is not back to being Jason Tatum again. And until we see it, you can't say it's automatic. We've seen this a number of times where guys have a massive injury and they're not quite the same, where the game changes on them, where they get hurt again, right?
Yeah.
But the other reason it was the best thing that ever happened to the Celtics is, guys, do you know the name Baylor Shireman? If you don't, get familiar real quick. The rookie out of BYU. This kid can ball. He wouldn't have developed the way he developed if Tatum was out there. He doesn't get any of those minutes, right? Pritchard blossoming into a 20, 25 point a game scorer. The space that Tatum's absence created was filled with all these first and second year players. Credit to Brad Stevens for drafting all these guys. And now we legit go 9-10 deep. And we've got serious defensive rotations that we can throw at all the teams in the league, no matter who they put out there. So for those reasons, and then this is the third one, and you kind of alluded to earlier, there's no more dueling banjos right now.
There's no what?
Tatum is
Dueling banjos.
like dueling pianos, your turn, my turn. Tatum is very happy right now, facilitating this offense and letting Jalen do what he's been
Cook.
doing all season. Now, will that happen next year? Will it happen in the playoffs? I don't know, but I watched too many of these games, and that's what's happening right now. And I'll tell you, when that's happening and they're not thinking about whose turn it is and, oh, I got to get Jalen the ball or Tatum hasn't had a shot yet, all of that is gone. It was around in last year's playoffs, and this is a well-oiled machine now. I think.
Yeah.
I honestly don't believe. I hate this. I don't believe they can beat the contenders in the West, but I do fully expect them to win the Eastern Conference this year.
Oof. Oof. All
where
right.
I
Let-
thought where I thought that um, the Pistons would be our biggest threat, it has definitely been replaced with Boston, and that was even before. My thoughts on that was even before Tatum came back.
Yeah, the Pistons.
You ain't getting out the
I mean,
East easy, brother.
I don't think it's going to be that hard, honestly, because Cleveland, we roast Cleveland. Like Cleveland, we just cook them, right?
Everyone's cooking Cleveland.
Everyone's cooking Cleveland. The Pistons, all right, if you can shut down Cade, where are they going?
Oh, it's a wrap for them. It's a wrap for them.
Yeah, but that's because they're still a young team.
There's nowhere else to
They have
go.
real coaching issues that people are not really talking about with
The
That
reason
Paolo.
you do, the reason you do have to take them seriously though, is every guy in their starting lineup has what Cat doesn't have.
Oh shit.
They got that dog in them, and they fight.
Oh,
Like I don't think there's anybody in the league I'd want to fight less than Jalen Duren. That guy scares the living bejesus out of me, right? Every time I see him. So look, they're going to be a tough out. They're going to muck up the game. They're going to slow down the game. It's going to be really. It would be really interesting to see how the styles play out in a Pistons Celtics 7-game series when we want to run and gun and move the ball and get these open threes and get all the first action, second action, third action, guy wide open, and we want to run the floor. I think they could muck that up and really slow the game down on us.
and the playoffs are typically more of your half court. It's going to be more of a half court game. So all of that running and gunning, and I think that actually in our series last playoffs against Boston, I think that was the thing that kind of messed you guys up. It's that
Well,
you couldn't do the running and gunning. Like it
well, the other thing, we played the Suns Monday night. First like 2 minutes of that game, the Suns pressed out of the gate to start the game. They pressed the Celtics. Derek White turned the ball over twice, and then Jaylen Brown turned the ball over, and then we brought Pritchard in the game.
mm,
When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, we don't actually have a point guard on the team. Like, yeah, Jason Tatum's a point forward. He'll run your offense like that, but he's not going to break a press the way like
man.
a
Whatever
Cade
happened
or
to Drew Holiday, huh?
right? So when I saw the Suns do that, I'm like, oh, we're going to see this in the playoffs. And the Pistons are the perfect team to do that to us. They got ball hawks all over the place.
Roger that. Hey, I wouldn't be a good facilitator if I wasn't keeping track of time. Let's get near the end of this discussion tonight. Otherwise, we'll be here for hours. The
I could do
season
this for
highlights
hours.
and I know, but Mike has a hard stop. He's asked. He has a game himself to
Oh,
play
he's got a
this
game.
evening.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a game.
My turn.
He's already suited and booted. Real quick, this current season highlights and lowlights. I'm going to start first just to give you guys a flavor, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to give you one highlight and then one lowlight. I think for me, the highlight has been the conversation around the MVP race. Um, it's been prevalent in this league for a couple of years now, but I think this season more so than others because of several issues. One is the 65 game qualification, minimum qualification, which severely might impact the two top dogs for Joker and SGA, which could bring Cade into discussion. And then for low light to me really is the Bam Adebayo 83 point night game. I caught the fourth quarter, the entire fourth quarter of that game, legally, and that was a travesty to the game that I grew up loving. I'm not gonna be verbose about it. I'm just gonna say that was to me the low light of the season thus far. I now turn my time to let's start with Keith. Highlights or lowlights or both in a couple of minutes.
But the highlights, I'm gonna say this year's All Star game.
I forgot about. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I haven't seen a competitive All Star game since Kobe, and I appreciated that. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing, man. Like I stopped watching the All Star game just because, like, I'm not watching the top guys in the league at a shoot around. Like,
yeah. Can I be honest? Just to add on to your take, I'm not taking time away from you. I think Wimby and a few other players made it that competitive.
I'm not
I
saying
don't
the
think it was
NBA
Adam
had.
Silver's. Sorry, yeah, I don't think it was Adam Silver's formatting, and no.
I agree with you. I don't think it had anything to do with actually like, oh, the word from on high and or Adam Silver doing. But that just proves my point about what I've been saying about these players versus the players we grew up with. They made far less money and had way more competitive spirit.
Hmm. Preach.
Like they
So I,
literally hated each other.
I hear that. Go ahead, Mike. Floor is yours.
before Keith gets to his low light, I got to double down because I was also going to see the All Star game, but for a completely different reason. But I will say Wemby gets all the credit because he turned that game up, and then everybody else had to follow because they didn't want to see him drop 100, and he was going to drop 100 if something didn't happen. The highlight of the season for me was the All Star game, but it had nothing to do with the game. It was watching KD realize real time during the All Star warm ups that all of his burners got exposed again. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That was a
Did you
highlight,
get to
not
see
the
his face?
recency.
Did you get to
Yes.
see his face?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
These are the times I love social media and Twitter. Is when that shit happens, and then everyone just goes bananas. Keith, I apologize. You were gonna mention a low light, or that was just your one?
Man, my low light is the refing, yo.
Oh.
My low light is the refing, bro. Yo, dude, I've been to games at Midland Park that
Oh.
the refs would ref those games by actual rules of basketball that the NBA refs aren't doing. If I see one more dude take like 18,000 steps with the ball and not get called for, yo, I think that shit is disrespectful, yo.
Yeah.
And and honestly, something has to be done about the flopping. Something has to be done
Yeah.
about the flopping.
And you know what? This used to be a conversation for quote unquote us old heads and unks, but I'm hearing my son's generation of kids complain about that as well. So it's not like a old school, new school, old heads, young. I think it's something that even the current generation of young players are watching and still and complaining about. I think it's a legit gripe. It's a legit low light. Mike, I'm running out of time here. You want to go into your low light and highlights, or just going to go into wild card playoff predictions?
Yeah, I mean, my highlight was the KD burner exposure
Yeah,
real
you did
time
mention
during. I
that.
mean, that was
Fucking
just
fantastic.
and then like the rest of the game, all the players are kind of looking at him, and you can see him they're chirping in his ears and the whole thing. I mean, the guy's had more burners exposed than a drug dealer who drives around with his trunk open. Like, let's be honest.
Why does he keep doing it?
I don't know. I don't know. He can't help
You're,
himself. Can't help
you're,
himself.
He
you're
has
bad at it, KD. You're
OCD,
bad at it. Like, just stop.
obsessive compulsive disorder with burners.
And
He
I
can't
will
help
say,
it. He's got a
I'm gonna do
disorder.
my low light quick, and then I gotta jump.
Yeah.
My low light was the 83 point Bam game, but not for the reasons that you guys talked about. Like it was a joke of a game and the way they were fouling each other at the end to get the extra possessions, all that nonsense. But and it's actually ties back to the first topic that we discussed, hangovers from last season.
Hmm.
That 83 point game was caused by tanking. Look at the lineup that the Wizards rolled out there. My son's CYO team could have taken that Wizards team at least to overtime that night. So when you have a guy like Bam and a coach like Spo, and they go to an NBA game and they see five guys like me suited up, how can you not start licking your lips and start thinking these thoughts?
Pause. But yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah. Now
I mean,
you're making some solid points here.
well, listen, if the Wizards actually played their guys that they have under contract, he doesn't score 83. That game doesn't play out that way.
Yeah. What happened to what's his name? Trey Young. Wasn't he supposed to be suited up and playing for the Wizards?
Tanking.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I'm
Say
glad that,
less.
but you see the anti-tanking rules that are going to be instituting. I think they're going to help.
Yeah, I saw
I
that. I
think they're
saw
going
that.
to
All
help.
right. All right, gents, we're hitting the buzzer here. So thank you both to Keith and to Mike for helping me start this inaugural NBA podcast. We will definitely do one right at the beginning of the playoffs. Once the playoffs has been set with the teams announced, we'll get into that. We'll allow ourselves a little more time to dig into and chew into that. But until then, I'd like to thank both Mike and Keith again. And our fellow Hero Peakers, you can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, what's the one with Trump? True Social, maybe. Apple Podcasts and TikTok. Republicans watch NBA too. in the spirit of Michael Jordan. All right, Jets, everyone, have a good night.
Have a
Cheers.
good night. I'm gonna go see CD now. Take care,
Good
guys.
good luck.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.